Okay, sweet peas, I'm just going to get right to the point concerning the reason why I'm making this video. Today's date is November 18th, 2013. And what I'm doing right now is I'm illustrating to you some things that you can find online. And if you want to research, hang on one second though, gotta put on my glasses. If you want to research what I'm getting ready to show you, it's best that you do extensive research in order to find the university and the IEEE articles. Like this one right here, IEEE Explore, because when you first type in the subject matters of what I'm getting ready to present you, you're going to run across individuals' blogs. And even though, even though they can be good and descriptive as well, the best thing to do is do the technical research. And the reason why I'm stating that is because when you do the technical research, like these articles right here, you can go to Google and you might be able to find it. It says below is the unedited draft of the article that has been accepted for publication, Cognitive Processing, 2009. Okay, and this is the title of the article: Brain and Mind Operational Architectronics. Okay, and Man-Made Machine Consciousness. Okay, now, and this particular article was made by an individual in Finland. Now, look at what it basically said in the keywords in order to find it: EEG, neural assemblies, artificial intelligence, robot mind, cognition, phenomena, operations. I don't know how to pronounce that word right there. Okay. Metastability, subjective experience, embodied approach, virtual reality, and synthetic. Okay. Now the title is what you want to pay attention to find the article, and I'll get to the explanation concerning why I'm showing you this in a second. Believe it or not, this is one of the best videos that I have made because of the factual reality of what is happening to military human experimentation targets, non-consensual. This is an IEEE Explore article that you can find by typing in this right here. I don't know how well you can see with this video camera. Okay, type in at Google IEEE Explore hyphen zero-sum two-player game theoretic formulation. Just do it. Now, this has to do with zero-sum two-player game theatrical formulation of a thin, nonlinear, discrete time systems using neural networks. Now, you might think to yourself, well, before I expand on that, let me get to the next one. This one right here has to do with, oop, that's a different article. That don't belong there. This right here is an article that you can find online by going to this right here, www.biotronic.com/modalities.html. This has to do with cortical mapping, transcranial motor evoked potentials, spinal cord evoked potentials, somatosensory evoked potentials, neurophysiologically monitoring modalities and equipment, and this basically about deep brain single unit recording, auditory evoked potentials, visual evoked potentials, EEG and computer enhanced EEG, I can't pronounce that word right there, transcranial Doppler, just everything. And this has to do, let me just put it to you this way. There's information on the internet right now that can literally show you that remote neural monitoring, and I'm not saying that this site right here is dedicated to remote neural monitoring. What I'm basically doing is showing you some information so you can learn about the brain. And then, well, let's take a look at this. Oh my gosh, what is this? How the NSA harasses thousands of law-abiding Americans daily by the usage of remote neural monitoring. This is a court case right here. It was discovered by me in Michigan on October 7th, 2010. That's right. And this is the court case right here. Just Google it. And you will see that the NSA and the government and the military has the ability to literally monitor all your evoked potentials. This is another one here, detecting electromagnetic transmissions and biotronics evoked potentials. And this is basically nothing but a printout concerning the previous one. Okay, this is a diagram here showing you how, this is the older one, showing you how remote neural monitoring works in reference to interfacing with a person's brain using computers to do it from a distance. Remote neural monitoring. Okay, and okay, let me get to the second part of this. Remember, is this about non-consensual military human experimentation? Okay. This is a good one right here. Now, when you read this, you're going to think to yourself, oh my gosh, how could this be possible? Just read the article, cross-reference it to the other things to include with this article, and then go to Google and type in how they're trying to upload the human consciousness and the mind uploading, into holograms. Now, in order for them to perfect this weaponry, they got to experiment on human beings to do it. So go to Google and type in continuum of consciousness, mind uploading, and resurrection of human consciousness. That means resurrecting the human and consciousness from the mind uploading into a hologram. Is there a place for physics, neuroscience, and computers uploading the conscious mind uploading into a computer and then uploading it from there or from the human being into a hologram? Holograms mentioned right there. My name is Leslie Williams, and this is a good article, but yet this article appears to have been written in, I think 2009. And you definitely need to look at this article. Now, my name is Leslie Williams, and I'm a target victim and activist of the criminal expeditions of what is known as organized stalking, which can also be termed as gang stalking. And there's actually a second part to this particular printout. I just don't have it right now in my at the physical location I'm at right now. But the adjacent article that is a printout that is directly connected to this one, okay, you can go to UnitedTargetedIndividualsEurope.com on their homepage, and when you get to it, click on the TI symptoms webpage, the TI symptoms feature. Hang on. Now, when you do that, you're going to run across some updated information concerning this kind of technology and other technologies that are being used against organized stalking targets, nanotechnology included. But in order to find this older one, you gotta do some extensive research at Google by looking for. I think you can go to Google and type in UnitedTargetedIndividualsEurope.com/nodes, NODES, and see if you can find it. Gang stalking is still mentioned, organized stalking is still mentioned on their current website, but in the older one, the nodes one, you'll flat out see that neural implantation and remote neural monitoring and everything are working together, okay, with non-consensual human experimentation, and how organized stalking and gang stalking is directly connected to it. Okay? So this is what we have to understand here. In fact, look at for this let's see if mind uploading is on this one. Anyways, so, you know, let me ask you a question, fellow American citizens, but hold on a second, because I'm going to light up the cigarette here when I'm talking to you. Ask yourself this one question. After you do your extensive, write down this question, okay, and put it on a piece of paper. You can ask yourself this question before you do the research, but it's best to ask yourself this question before and definitely after you do the research. And the reason why I say definitely after is because when you hear what I'm about to say, you might think to yourself, this woman's crazy, she's insane, there's no way that this can be going on, and so on and so forth. And that's why you need to ask yourself this question after you do extensive technical research. In other words, it's fine for you to read the blogs about this, about what's happening. It's also called avatar mind uploading, okay? And so the best thing for you to do, okay, is to write that question down and then go back to it after you do the technical research, okay, looking at prestigious journalist and doctor articles concerning what you find, okay, like the IEE Explorer. This all, what they're basically doing is looking for ways to figure out how to create an artificial brain, okay, by creating artificial neural networks that stem from the knowledge that is ascertained from the non-consensual human experimentation as a result of human beings being tortured, brain mapped, brain scanned, and even their minds being uploaded into a computer. Why do you think it says that there, mind uploading? Why do you think it says that there? Do you think that this article right here, brain and mind operational architectronics, architectonics and man-made machine consciousness is online for no reason? Okay? We're also trying to upload the consciousness, the mind, into a robot. That's right. So, when I show you these things here that were written by doctors, okay, and researchers that are doing this stuff past the PhD level, do you honestly think they're doing it for no reason? Of course not. Now let me give you a tidbit of information here. You can go to right now to the FBI's website, and they got a search box on their FBI website. And if you go to it and type in remote neural monitoring, guess what you're going to come up with? If they still got it on their website, you're going to come up with an article that talks about how they're using artificial neural networks for crime statistic analysis, because the human brain is more creative in reference to analyzing things than a computer is. Even though what they're doing with computers right now is astronomical, they're still looking to incorporate a brain into a computer. So the human mind is so much more intuitive and creative, okay, than a computer is. That is the things that they have a hard time figuring out when it comes to the human consciousness, is the intuitiveness of a brain, the non-linear processing of a brain. That's one of the reasons why they might be targeting individuals with attention deficit and Asperger's and autism, because they process and dyslexics, because they process information in a non-linear order. Okay, and for instance, well, let me just light this cigarette. An individual who processes information in a non-linear order, okay, is a little bit harder for them to if they were being like remotely neurally monitored. A computer is set up to be problem solve using linear equations, okay, linear problem solving programs. Okay, and it's harder for them to be able to figure out the mathematical equations for nonlinear processing, because nonlinear is not done in sequential order, so it's harder for them to write the code to figure it out. That's right. And so if they're trying to copy a human brain into a computer, to mind upload it into a robot, or even to transfer it into another person's consciousness, which has already been perfected, YouTube it and Google it and you'll see I'm telling you the truth. A nonlinear processor, they have a harder time creating a computer for that, even a computer program for that, because of the way nonlinear processors process information. When any individual is approaching a problem, they approach it by looking at the problem, either reading it through a story or an illustration, a word illustration, or reading it through a mathematical equation, including physics, obviously. And then when they look at this equation and try to reverse engineer it to break it down to see how the equation was surmised, what they do is they process the problem solving of it with linear processing. A nonlinear processor has the capability to think in holistic pictures. Right brain people think in pictures, left brain people think with words. Hold on. To give you an idea about that, go to Google and type in the gift of dyslexia. It literally shows you about how dyslexic people think in pictures, or right brain children in a left brain world. That's another great book. Now, individuals that think in pictures, just, you know what, to give you a great example of this, so you can have a pictorial representation in your mind concerning how individuals think in pictures, just like when you imagine something and you view it in a picture. Individuals that are extremely right brain think in pictures. They see the picture and then they reverse engineer it to see how the picture came about, and they can skip the steps. They can go from, say if the creation of a picture like a painting, you have the first step, second step, third step, fourth step, fifth step. A nonlinear processor can break it down, and then if they're dyslexic, they can flip it and go from 1 to 3 to 5 and transfer and process that information to bring it in the holistic pictorial representation within a nanosecond. 1, 3, and 5 instead of a linear processor figuring it out at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Therefore, they're able to process the information faster, come to a comprehensive meaning to the picture faster as the idea and thought is being formed and processed. Now, nonlinear processors, well, let me just put it to you this way. If they're being used for non-consensual human experimentation and or if they're being remotely neurally monitored, is it harder for them to be monitored? Because they're random thinkers as well. That's right. That's right. My name is Leslie Williams and I am in San Diego, California. Am I a nonlinear processor? Hold on. Now with remote neural monitoring, they might be able to monitor this nonlinear processing because the video cortex is being observed as well. But the person who's being monitored that processes information in a nonlinear order might be processing the information in a will be processing the information in a nonlinear order, but they might not choose to continue in the processing of it, or they might not act on it. But nonlinear processors can also be random processors, where they can have a flash of an idea about what to do concerning something and immediately get up to go do it, or they might make random choices concerning one nonlinear process. In other words, they can have a nonlinear process and a summation and have multiple random ideas concerning how to deal with it as it's transpiring and as it's concluding, and then they could literally use their intuitiveness, and their mind can unconsciously figure out what they're going to do. It's harder to figure out what they're going to do in reference to what random thought they're going to act on. That's right. So it's harder for them to be able to guesstimate how a nonlinear processor and a random thinker, okay, is going to operate in reference to possibly developing their own strategies and acting on even a random thought in reference to what they might do to them, in reference to developing their own strategies to expose them legally, going after them legally, what ideas and gifted ideas that they might have in the process of the ongoing strategies that will continually be part of going after them legally. In other words, they might not be able to see something coming before it gets there. That's right. I can have a person can have a thought, I am going to go to the store. A nonlinear processor says, I go to store. That's right. So, when you look at how the remote neural monitoring might be able to figure out the brain in reference to what it's processing, if a person who has an inclination about what they're going to do, and then they backtrack and zigzag or play hopscotch with the thought, you got to remember that the brain is controlling the body and its actions. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that for these uploading a person's mind and figuring out nonlinear, in order to make nonlinear processing neural networks, it's harder for them to do it because of the complexity of concerning how the brain processes information and the software that they have to make in order to do it. So, is this one of the reasons why nonlinear processors are being non-consensually human experimentated on? Is it also another reason why that might be the apropos brain for them to upload into a computer for these aspirations? Now, let me tell you something right now. If they're up, I'm not going to say if they are, or if I even know anybody that they are, because I got to say what I know and what I state carefully, because they'll literally say what I use against me to throw me in an institution because of the possible torture that is taking place against nonlinear processors, maybe even somebody that I know. Do they have the technology to vector a location that a targeted individual is at and cover it from two separate points with a magnetic field? Since the brain, when you research this section, how the NSA is using remote neural monitoring to harass thousands of law-abiding American citizens, and if you get the book The Body Electric and the book Soul Catcher, and then cross-reference the information that I just got done stating to you, you'll see that the magnetic field of a target's body and brain has been brain mapped, brain scanned. That's right, and brain scanned. Okay, so you can vector a targeted individual's location, like I'm just giving an illustration in this video concerning me. This is just an illustration. I'm not saying that it's happening to me, and I'm not saying that it's not. You got two separate poles, just like on a battery, negative and positive. If you can set up two, whatever they use in reference to the, go back to that resurrection article, and it shows you a diagram of how they can set up to upload the human consciousness into a hologram. Okay, it's literally got the diagrams showing how they do it, the mathematics, the geometries that are used, the equations that are used. If you can vector a targeted individual's location that they're targeting, and blanket the geometrical area that targeted individual is in with a magnetic field. That's right. If you can blanket the whole entire area that the target is in, then the target is in that magnetic field that they're vectoring using a geometrical shape. Okay? That targeted individual's bioelectric field and biomagnetic field is within the magnetic field that they have geometrically vectored for the target to actually be in. Now, these magnetic fields operate on grids. It's gridded. It's vectored and it's gridded. So the body is literally sitting within it. Then if they know the biomagnetic field of the target's body and brain, they can basically modulate a section of the field to interface with the biomagnetic field of the brain and the body. And that is in part how the mind hacking is made possible. It's brain modulation, where they're vectoring the target's location, projecting a magnetic field to it, and then modulating the radio frequencies that they interlace with on the magnetic waves. Okay? They're millimeter waves is what they are. If you can like sit down and draw yourself a picture of a grid with magnetic waves going in both directions, if needed. It can be in one direction or in both. Okay? Because the physical body has to be looked at, and then the brain has to be looked at from both sides. Okay, so and on these magnetic waves, they can use light waves and radio waves to interlace on them. Okay, and then modulate those waves once they got the vectored location of the head and the biomagnetic field that the brain is emitting. They then modulate that section of that vectored magnetic field and modulate it down to interface with the targeted individual's magnetic field of their brain and body, which means that they're also using the central nervous system and the physiological signals as well. That's right, and even the blood of a targeted individual, because blood has frequencies as well. And this is this how they're gaining a neurological access from mind uploading? And then what they can do is project a hologram in a separate but connected magnetic field that is opposite, like 5 feet away from the target. They project that hologram to that area and then transfer the consciousness into the hologram. Because the hologram is nothing but magnetic waves with radio waves on it, light waves on it, and lasers. Do your research. It's being done. What I state to you is I'm stating to you in layman's terms. If you do the scientific research, you'll flat out see it's already being done. So, what they're doing, are they testing this using non-consensual human experimentation targets to perfect it? And is it torture? If they were able to do this to a targeted individual, where they can project upload a targeted individual's consciousness, and even all the physiological systems, like when I tighten up my body right now, I'm feeling it in my shoulders, I'm feeling it in my stomach, I'm feeling it a little bit of it in my upper, where my midsection is down here. Those are physiological signals. Okay, based on the body tightening up and the brain and the body reacting to it through its physiological signals. Can they also transfer the physiological signals into the pictorial representation of the hologram? Say if they were to project an angel, like with a bow. Okay, that's right. And that angel has got a head as well. They can upload the consciousness into the head of the angel, and then the body the physiological signals from the human beings will be uploaded into the body of the angel. And then they get the hologram to move, to do a certain thing, like take the bow and go like this, a bow and arrow. And then the arms will feel it in the person's body while the human being is actually subconsciously and unconsciously aware that it's happening, even seeing it happening in their own video cortex. Because electrons can be mirrored. Google that. That's right. Just Google it. In fact, right now in my possession, in my backpack, I got an article in there about mirror, about how mind reading is possible, and it talks about mirrored electrons. An electron can be mirrored, and one electron can be in two separate places at one time. Just do what I state. My name is Leslie Williams. I'm in San Diego, California. This was an illustration. It wasn't a statement that I was making concerning anything I know about this happening to any specific person at all. This is an illustration video to let you know what might, I have to say it creatively, be happening to non-consensual human experimentation targets, military. Now, go to YouTube and type in Fred Bell, George Norrie, Coast to Coast, Electronic Harassment and Warfare. He talks about holograms. What else does he talk about concerning holograms? Quantum entanglement concerning a human body and a hologram. Okay, so are targeted individuals kept isolated in these torturous campaigns? And I'm not talking about the torturous campaign of what I just described, but targeted individuals are being human experimentated on. We're made homeless. Every single aspect of our lives is totally destroyed. Okay, our finances are watched. They're even taken from us. We're blacklisted from employment. Okay, and we are denied every single one of our human rights and our civil rights on a daily basis, because legislative laws have been made covertly that protect this non-consensual human experimentation. It is totally and completely protected, which means that a targeted individual cannot get one help from a police officer, a lawyer, a judge, a senator, a congressman, or a representative. Not one bit of help, because laws have been made and are being executed from behind the scenes that protect the criminality that is happening to the targeted individual. And this is all done for military weaponization, using and torturing people to do it, to perfect it. My name is Leslie Williams. I make these videos to inform, to expose the truth behind the heinous nature of what is happening to targeted individuals. I'm talking about literal torture. Can you imagine your mind being uploaded into a computer or into a hologram and literally feel and experience it happening as it's occurring? Just ask yourself that question. Thank you.